welcome back, or welcome in general. So, today, strap in, ladies and... I've lost it now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, strap yourselves in. This is going to be one hell of a ride. If you thought Fraser Crane was a dull AF show, then this is going to be even more so. So, much like my picking sticks video, this is going to just tear the roof off of the entire place, and everybody's going to be going wild. It's going to be intense. But there's your forewarning. So if you're not up for that, click out. If you are, welcome to the journey. And if you're enjoying this so far, hit subscribe. I'm on 28 now. Feel pretty good about myself. I think I might actually set up my first bank account now that I've got some kind of potential revenue coming in. So what we're looking at today, this is the product review of the Ludwig EPIC series. It says EPIC there. It's also... it's unofficially labeled the brick. So what this is a 14 by 7 inch deep 20 ply birch drum. So you might not get such a perspective, but there you can possibly gauge the thickness. So again, as a precursor, I'm not going to be doing the test on this sonically because I don't have any mics here. I have all that set up back in England, so when I do get back with this, I will set it up and I'll do a test for you all so that you can hear it. But what we're going to be doing now is just running over the rundown, the schematics, the whole shebang about what makes this such a great drum, what makes this an incredible drum to have. So yes, straight off the bat, the USP for this, because there are loads of 7 or 14 by 7 inch drums, the USP on this is that it's 20 plies. It's a thick drum shell. This thing, it may as well be one solid piece, because they do make solid shell drums. This gives the illusion of that sense because of how thick and dense it is, and it's birch. So when you've got birch in drum shells, you're looking at a high pitch, nice bright, punchy kind of sound. Maple, you're looking at a warmer, mellowed out kind of tone, and then you get the exotics like the babingas, and that's maybe like a maple on steroids. It's a really thuddy, low end, warm sound. So birch is definitely in the higher range there. And it's got so here now we're gonna get nerdy. Now we're gonna break the schematics down. It's got a 45 degree bearing edge. So what that means is it's just the standard 45 degree. I guess that's about 45 degrees. And so you've got a sharp contact straight onto the correct me if I'm wrong, please, in the comments, but it's the shoulder, kind of the sleeve of the head before it kind of levels out. So you get very minimal contact, so you end up getting a lot of sustain, a really bright translation of sound. So it's really bright with the birch, and then it's even brighter with the 45 degree standard bearing edge. You do have double 45 bearing edge, so you've got a bit of a tip there, and that actually contacts more to where the flat part of the head starts. So you get a bit, if I'm not mistaken, you get a bit less sustain, but you get a bit more tunability because you're in contact with the head there. And then you've also got a rounded 45 or a 45 with round, and that's more of a traditional kind of pre-1980s, to my knowledge, kind of looking into the jazz world of where this would have started. And that round before the bearing edge, that gives full contact, or as much contact, between the bearing edge and the sleeve of the head there. So you've got a lot of wood, a lot of shell to head kind of contact, and that's going to give you a warmer sound, more mellowed out sound, because of that kind of, it's almost like an internally dampening bass system there. It's not dampening it, but you know what I mean, it's got that contact, so it will soften things out a bit. So this has a standard 45, but because it's got 20 ply, that bearing edge, you could drive a car around it. It's almost like that death circle where you go on the motorcycle back in the 50s, I think it was. So anyways, we'll move on from the bearing edge, because I'm sure everybody's already like, wow. But to be honest, if Fraser can make how many seasons, I think I could make a couple seasons out of this. So again, you got the natural finish of the birch. So you see that beautiful wood that comes through. It's a nice light kind of wood there, and you get all the nice little bits of the grain. They usually put the best veneer on the outside, obviously, because they want the best image that you can get. This comes with triple flanged hoops. So as you see there, sorry about that, I've taken the snares off. You can see this is a triple flanged hoop. That's quite standard. There are there is the other option of a die cast hoop, which would basically almost imagine if you filled all of this in, just a thicker ring around there, and it kind of comes around that tuning lug. It kind of encompasses it. I saw somewhere online, somebody said really the basic difference between a die cast hoop and a triple flanged hoop is the die cast hoop makes your drum look like a tank, and they're kind of accurate, to be fair. There's not bundles of sonic difference between a triple flanged and a die cast. I mean, I listened to some online being hit, and it sounded like the die cast was a little bit of a higher pitch, but again, we're looking at very minute, negligible in effect kind of things there. It does come with the standard keystone lugs, so that's very traditional to Ludwig. That's their kind of, you can look at a Gretsch kit and you know those lugs, and a Slingerland, they have their own kind of lug style. It's like almost grills and hood ornaments for cars. Premier has beautiful, they used to have beautiful, really slim line, almost looks like something you'd get off a Corvette or something. They have gorgeous lugs. Did I tell you this was going to get boring and dull and nerdy? The throw off is the only thing that I'm not massively impressed with on this. Not to say that it's bad, but it's just it feels a bit less sturdy than the rest of the drum, and maybe that's because this is such an incredibly sturdy drum that even a sturdy throw off is going to slightly pale in comparison, but it's it's smooth, it does its job, but again, that's probably the one thing that I would say, maybe looking into the future for me personally, maybe add a different throw off on there. The stock heads on this, I mean, this has stayed the same. This is the stock head. I haven't really been around this drum. As I say, it's been in Canada, but the bottom head should always be thinner anyways. Where I have changed it, I'm a personal lover of the Remo Vintage A. So that's a 7.5mm and a 3mm put together. So you got dual ply adding up to 11.5mm, and it's coated. A lot of the coating's rubbed off there because it's an old head. But from what I've understood with the Vintage A is you've got the sensitivity of a Diplomat, which is a bit of a thinner head. That's 1.7mm ply, if I'm not mistaken. You've got the durability and more than not the mid-range kind of how am I see? I don't even have words for this. You get the mid-range attack, if you will, and sound from the Ambassador, which is 1.10mm ply, to my knowledge, and then you've got the durability of an Emperor, which is 2 7mm plies. So that's a 14 double when you add it all up there. So really, when you're looking at this would be the second thickest head in Remo's catalog. Obviously, you've got your 7mm, then you've got your 10, then you've got your 11.5, and then you've got that Emperor coated or clear, but your Emperor is 2 7s, so 14mm ply, quite sizably powerful there. So that's why I prefer the Vintage A in a roundabout way, because you can access all of the different things from different heads all in one head. That's why I'm a big fan of the Remo Vintage A personally. What haven't I addressed? I mean, these are stock snares, and as you can see, again, this is a useful tip here, and this is bad on my part, but it's a perfect example. I've abused this in terms of playing it and loving it, and I did use it. I just noticed in the center here, one of these snare wires is a bit saggy. I'll try and... Oh, it's engaged, sorry. So if I disengage that, there is this guy right here. This guy is a little bit, you might even be able to see it there. You can kind of gauge, he's a bit saggy right there. So what that is going to do is, I mean, right now that snare wire is that snare is gone. I need new snares. That is factual. And not to mention the fact this was a 20 strand and one broke. So what you do, if you're ever in a pinch, please understand, I don't mean this in any other way than if you have absolutely no other way to do things and you've got to go on. If you're about to do a gig and you've just broken one snare wire, you don't have another snare to put on there, you have to clip the other side to even it out, because this runs off of it works off of evenness, right? So that's why all snares are going to be even numbers: 14, 16 strand, 20 strand, 32 strand. So if you've just broken one, don't just clip that out and then go on the show. You're going to have an imbalanced snare wire, and it's not going to sound very good at all. So the best thing that you could do in that situation, other than getting a new snare wire set across that, is to clip the other side, so at least you're even. But when you do it, make sure you clip them away and as close to the soldering bit as you can. And if you can, bend that upwards, because you don't want that pinching in, splitting your drum head, because these are very thin bottom heads, these resonant heads on the snares. This was, as I said, this was a 20. On my other one back in England, my Ludwig factory snare drum from the kit, I went personally to a 14 strand, because 14 and 16 strands are a bit more of an old school traditional set. So with that, what you get is less snare crack, but you'll end up with a more tonal kind of snare drum, because you'll be able to give that drum a bit of time to exist and breathe and speak its voice before the snares engage within your playing. So when you're doing rolls and build-ups and buzz rolls, you'll be able to hear more of the drum. It sounds more like a tom kind of deal. You hear the low end of the drum, and you hear those snares fizzle in and get in as you attack the drum harder. So I'd like to change this over, because when you start getting to 24s and 32 strands, you're really personal preference. Everybody's, they've got their own bag, but then you're looking at just hearing snare and crack, almost like a marching drum. And you kind of kill, in my opinion, you do kill a lot of the tonality of the drum, because all you're hearing is snare. I'm noticing that this is 12.5 minutes, so I'm going to wrap her up there. But basically, what I'm trying to say is this drum is incredible. It's amazing. I love everything about it. And I'm sorry I'm not playing it yet, but again, I will put that video out soon. But this really is gorgeous. It's beautiful to look at. It's about 15 pounds in weight, mind you. But it's beautiful to look at. It sounds incredible. The first gig I did with this, we opened the set, and there was the opening of everything was just a snare hit, and I did one of those. I got a cheeky rim shot on this guy, and I'm not even joking. I watched somebody in the audience. They had a pint of beer. It was all over them. They flew it everywhere. They got so scared. They jumped up and they left. So and it wasn't mic'd, and it was a sizable room. So that gives you some context that this guy is. It's like having a howitzer cannon on your left hand, right? Or right if you're a left-handed player. So there you go. I am a huge drum nerd, as you can tell by a 13-minute video on a snare drum. But there you go. This is a beautiful thing. It sounds incredible. Ludwig make great drums. But yeah, greatest part about this really would be the thickness of it. It really projects. It is incredibly loud, but very sensitive as well. So yeah, I'd highly recommend at least taking a look at these, or checking them out. It was only about £200 at the time when I bought it a few years ago as well, so fairly inexpensive when it comes to snare drums. Right, I'm gonna wrap it up now, because even I can hear myself going, oh my god, I know why you're single. We know why you're single now, Colin. Everybody can understand that. Yep, so lonely. No, honestly though, check it out. It's a beautiful drum. Have a great night.